Hey gang, this is Doug with Doug's Timeshare Travels. Today we're in Breckenridge, Colorado, and we're going to take a look at the Grand Colorado on Peak 8. So one of the things to do here is ride the gondola down to town. So that's what we're going to do here right now, is we're going to get on the gondola and ride all the way downtown. Alright, so we've got it loaded on to the gondola. And we got loaded on at Grand Colorado on Peak 8. There's a little bit of stoppage and starting when there's a little wind. Alright, so after a brief little stop, or a little stoppage, we're off again. So from Grand Colorado on Peak 8, we actually go up to Crystal Lodge, which is just right next door to Grand Lodge on Peak 7. Grand Lodge on Peak 7 is a sister resort of Grand Colorado on Peak 8. The two resorts are literally within walking distance of each other. I often walk the dogs up to Grand Lodge on Peak 7, and then we will walk back down. So it's a short little trip up here to Crystal Peak, or Crystal Lodge, sorry. And if I wanted to, I could get off here. But I'm just going to go ahead and continue riding on around. We're going to go on down to Main Street, Breckenridge. Slows down a little bit at this point. Just take the turn here. And then we're off again for a scenic little ride down to Main Street, Breckenridge. The gondola here is free. You do need to check hours though and seasons. There are some during mud season, they have the gondola closed down. I know that it operates somewhere towards the mid-June, the end of June, and then closes down sometime after Labor Day, and I think it opens back up during the ski season. Every now and again, I'm sure that you can probably catch some wildlife. Although, to be honest with you, I've never seen any wildlife while riding the gondola. Of course, I don't ride the gondola all that often, to be honest with you. Now, if you look, you can see people hiking there. There's a nice little hiking trail down through here that just opened up, I think, maybe a year ago. It's a very pretty little trail through the woods, through a couple of little ponds and by a couple of little streams. There's always a very good likelihood when you're up here that you're going to see a couple of fox. Yesterday we saw, when I was walking the dogs, I saw 2 fox. Even downtown we've seen fox several times. We have seen moose, usually in the early spring or in the late fall. I haven't ever seen any of the moose at this elevation in August or June. Typically we are up here towards the end of May, first part of June, or the last part of August. Sometimes we'll come up in September. Breck has a really good Oktoberfest that they have on, I think it's the third weekend of September. I'd have to actually look that up. We've been to that several times. It's really an enjoyable time. They close off Main Street. They have a lot of Bavarian beer. They've always had a hoompa band playing traditional songs, doing some dances. They've had a light show, kind of an art type light show down in the main square. And if I remember right, they've had kind of an arts and crafts street fair at that time. Like I said, it's a very enjoyable time in what's normally low season. You can see out here, nice fields, nice meadows, quite a bit of water down there. Like I said, if you go over at the right time, I would not doubt that you would see some wildlife in that area. We're going to get mostly into the homes here, so I'm going to turn the camera off for just a little while. Well, actually, I take that back. There's a reason for the homes. It's been a while since I have ridden this. And we're either coming up to another turn that I have forgotten about, or, yep, this is another turn. So I'm going to turn the camera off for a little while, and I'll restart when we get closer down to Breck. All right, so we've made that turn. We're kind of in what looks like a residential area here. I think that was, it's a Shock Hill station. I think that's a relatively new station. It's been a number of years since I've ridden the Gondola, but I honestly don't remember that station being there. So Breckenridge, a lot of people think of Breckenridge only as a ski town. We've never come up here during ski season. We have always been here in the spring, summer, or fall. Spring and late fall is considered mud season or off season. But we really enjoy being up here then because, well, there's almost no tourists. You have the town to yourself. Getting a reservation at any of the restaurants is easy. Parking is easy. Yeah, the weather could be a little iffy at times. There's always still some snow on the mountains at that point in time, where at this time of year, there's very little snow. Sometimes the highest elevations, there's still a little bit of snowpack. But spring and fall is very picturesque and quiet. July is possibly the busiest month in the summer, and honestly, we try to avoid that. That is high family season. Lots of children, lots of kids, lots of family, all of them enjoying the town of Breckenridge. People ask, what is there to do in Breckenridge in the summer? Well, there's a lot of things. There's mountain biking, there's hiking trails, there's fly fishing. There's a ton of really fine restaurants in town. There's a Breckenridge Distillery, there's Breckenridge Brewery. There's the Gondola. There is the Epic Discovery Fun Park up on Peak 8. There's whitewater rafting. Numerous things to do. And we never fail to find something to do. There is not just in Breckenridge, but around Breckenridge. You can drive over to the little town of Frisco. There's Lake Dillon. You can go motorboating on Lake Dillon. You can go paddleboarding, kayaking. You can drive down to Georgetown. There's the Georgetown Loop Railroad, which is a historic narrow gauge railroad. You can drive over Independence Pass. So many things to do. So here we are, guys. Short little trip down to, a little rough there, down to Main Street. That's the gondola ride.